what you were saying with the confidence, it's not even the fact that when I see the world is lacking confidence as a whole. I feel like when it comes to just who we are as believers, not just our relationship with God, but the confidence trickles down to everything.
Right.
Like when I see myself grow as a believer in loving God, I see myself be more confident as a man, be confident as a husband. It trickles. It's not just like it stays in one area.
Yeah.
And the reason why people don't want that relationship, or it's hard to have that relationship with God, is because now you got to have confidence in other things. That's why we're so easy to go into temporal fixes and temporal self-medication.
Rise from the ashes, everywhere we go, our light be flashing. 'Cause you're alive, yes, you're alive. You'll be right as you dusting off the ashes. Rise from the ashes, so everywhere that we go, our light be flashing. 'Cause you're alive, yes, you're alive. You'll be right as you dusting off the ashes.
Hi, I'm Sandy Powell. Welcome to the Round Table. I'm here today with two great hip-hop. Oh, y'all hip-hop?
Christian hip-hop.
Christian hip-hop artists. We have my very own J to the R. I'm going to call your government name.
Just say JR.
JR.
Okay. Wow.
And then we have our special guest, Carl Blood, also known as C Blood, here at the Round Table. Y'all welcome today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm excited.
Yeah, today it's kind of a spinoff of the weekend of Lead by Example. And you two would be the best people on this platform to talk about some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today.
Right.
I love young people. I love young people, and I love to see young people doing things for God. Yeah. And I like to get up under them and help propel that in any way that's necessary.
Right.
So just off the rip, just to get a little bit of about you all, hip-hop music. What is hip-hop gospel music? Tell us.
You looking at me?
Yeah, looking at me.
Nah. Hip hop music. I mean, of course, it's a genre. Just like any other genre, it's just a different sound.
Right.
You know, and so pretty much, you know, most of our generation, we grew up on hip hop, and there's the same message, different method. And so pretty much, you know, it's like, yo, we're going to take what we've been gifted with,
right,
and then we're going to translate and use, you know, we're going to translate the gospel, articulate the gospel in this way. And it actually soaks up better, you know what I'm saying? And it helped me and a lot of people, so that's what it is.
Because Jesus on the main line wasn't getting it.
Jesus on the main line was not getting it at all.
Yeah, but in the same sense,
yeah.
You know, Jesus on the main line set it off for other folks.
He set it off for other folks.
But yeah, you know, Jesus on the main line, that didn't really, I loved it growing up as a young boy. And then, you know, I was into the Mississippi Mass Choir, so great in your mercy. You know, I grew into those things. But when I became older, hip-hop was the culture. Hip-hop is what I, you know, wanted to be. I wanted to live out. You know, everything they were saying I wanted to be. So I think us being believers now, we still love the hip-hop. We still love the whole part of it, the culture. It's just now the message has changed. So
I want to tell y'all this, though, just so y'all know, but hip-hop didn't start with y'all. It started with the latter part of the baby boomers. Just want y'all to know that.
Oh, yeah,
You're riding the coattail of that that era of the baby boomers.
Right.
But the hip-hop way, let me just say that, the way that you all take the music, you really just take a style of music and you're basically putting Christ's message to that music.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right, exactly.
And so with that being said, is that how you all are reaching the young people? Do you think that's your effect?
I think that it's a tool. It definitely plays a part in, because you got so many different ways of media. Of course, you got, you know, TV, music, all those kind of things like that.
Right.
So when it comes to music is what you put in your ears at night. You know, music is what these kids listen to when they get on the bus. So it's like, it's a tool. So I think I see it as that. It's not just like everything. Of course, you know, we still have to live our lifestyles for people to see that as well, because we ain't living a lifestyle, and none of that matters. The music doesn't even matter. So it's like the music is just a tool to help people grow, you know, even in a subconscious mind. Because the more you listen to it and the more you hear these lyrics and the more you can relate to these problems and these situations and hear the victory that comes from, you know, that God has given us, you know, then it transforms your mind, you know, and that's why people connect with music in any way. And so sometimes people put in the wrong music and it connects with their problems, with the same problem, but it doesn't give them solution. So that's our thing is.
Or hope.
Yeah, or hope, exactly. So our thing is, listen, yeah, like a lot of people, they call real music when, you know, I make a song and I talk about a lot of real issues, police brutality, this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, they don't give a solution. And that's what we do. We give a solution to that problem, which is Christ. So.
Which is the gospel.
The gospel.
The good news. And so with your music, the kids are they gravitate to the fact that it is hip hop. So it gives them an option, because, you know, you always have to have a replacement for when you take something, you know. And so the hip hop industry, let's just say this, you know, because sometimes I think the older generation finds it a little hard to gravitate to hip-hop gospel. I don't personally, but I'm just saying some do, because sometimes the way y'all swag is, you know, the way you all, you know, kind of move your hands, it still looks like the guys that are
the world.
It still looks, and I think that might be the older generation's, you know, issue maybe with hip-hop gospel. What do you think?
I wanted to take it back to when we was talking about the kids again. Now, he's speaking from one part. I want to speak from another part. Now, what I've seen with the kids, and when you mean kids, I'm thinking like 18 to, you know, your smallest babe. You know, most times, I remember when I was a kid, there was things I did listen for in lyrics, but for the most part, it was how they made me feel. I think what attracted me to a lot of artists was how they carried themselves, you know, what they were saying, what they were speaking outside of the music. So I think for us, he stamped with the lifestyle. The reason that kids will pick up and listen to the music is more so of how we are and what we're doing and how we're living, because the kids that gravitate to us, they're, like you said, they're looking for something to be like, something to mentor to. And then, but the music also caters to people who, like us, are young believers, but need an alternative. Because I remember when I came to God, that was my thing. I gotta let go of, you know, Jadakiss. I gotta let go of Jay-Z. I gotta let go. I can't let D4 go. You know, that's what
family.
I mean, I had literally built this relationship with these guys. You know, like, when you listen to music, you build a relationship with a person. You know, so I have built this aura with these people. Like, I want to hear what they're saying, what they're talking about. So now I come to God. I really want that change. But the biggest issue I see in gravitating to the young adults is the kids, they just want something to look up to. If we just live in mess, we come in there and say ABCD, and they gonna rock ABCD, long as it's got a nice beat now. But I'm saying, for the most part, the kids want something to mentor to. But my music, I like to gear to people who want that alternative. Somebody who still want to bump their music, but don't want to bump the people who are not living what they're living. So that's where it's kind of like a twist and turn, because I know we say kids, but the kids
young
just
adults, young people,
Kids are just looking for something to be like. Kids don't really understand, because we talking about stuff that's deep. Sometimes these 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7, they haven't even experienced that stuff yet. But the fact that it's a Christian man that, like you said, he looks like the other guys, but his music is not the same.
Well, I think that's the importance of lead by example. I think that's why it's important for, and then you young men, and I'll just go here because black young men, you know, the example is important, you know, because we do have a lot of hypocrisy in our faith, you know, and so when you also mix that in with what people think is a worldly thing, which is hip hop, you know, they try to associate the two. I don't know why. It's just like trying to say, you know, I don't know. But anyway.
Like, you can't eat Burger King.
Like, because I do McDonald's. Okay, they're burgers. How about that? But anyway, at the end of the day, I think that the leading by example message is important because of the hypocrisy and because of the misleading and the misguiding of young Christians, you know, because when me, myself also, being a 15-year-old believer, you know, I didn't have those young people examples. I didn't have, like, young women that were living the life and before me, and I could pattern myself behind and kind of see what I should or shouldn't do
Right.
that would give a bad light to my name as a Christian. But this is where you guys come in. So with your music, what is your, so to speak, what is your reason behind, what's your fire behind what you do? Tell me what propels you. What is your purpose in the music?
I think for me, it's funny. When I first made my switch in 2009, when I really, went through my issue, and then, now I'm at a place where God is everything I need, and I wanted that relationship. I was the one that criticized the hip hop and Christian. I was the one that criticized it because I felt like they couldn't intertwine at first. And then, that's just how God works. I never inspired to be a rapper. I knew I had the talent, but I never aspired it. I had hoop dreams, I still, out there now trying to hang with the young boys. I had hoop dreams, so
Right.
rapping wasn't a thing.
Right.
But when I gave myself to God, and we had that conversation, it's almost like you say you're willing to do anything, and then He plopped that right in front of me, like, okay, I want you to do exactly what you said that couldn't be done. Like, you say hip hop and Christian can't be together, you say it can't intertwine, well, I want you to do it for me. If you say about me. So
Wow.
now, like, I'm stuck in, okay, Lord. Like, that's how I felt.
Right.
But at the same time, I was true to what I wanted to do. I really wanted to live my life for God. So most of it just started with just telling my story, just the transformation of how I was switching. And then after that, it just, propelled now into keeping that relationship.
Right.
And everything I rap now is just, just like any hip hop artist would do. You talk about your life. You talk about what you go through, the things that you face. Everything, even though we're believers, everything ain't always peachy cream. But when I end that song, you're gonna know that it's still with Jesus I ride.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
What did you call?
For me, like I said earlier, the music is a tool. I believe that each of us have a position in the body of Christ.
Right.
And my main thing when it comes to ministry is nothing but like an abundance, an overflow of your relationship with God. It's me
Right.
putting my relationship on display.
Right.
A lot of people think it's like, oh, it's like, no, literally it's me, Carl Blood, C Blood, walking with Christ, and I let other people see it. That's all I do.
That's it.
So I don't overextend myself to be something I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what keeps it real. It's like, wow, we see this man go up, we see him go down, we see his problems, his flaws,
Right.
But in seeking, Christ and growing and finding my position, and then also my calling as far as, youth, young adults, and understanding that, the time that we live in right now is very, very radical. Everyone's on edge. Everyone's going hard. The world's going harder. And so the time that we live in, you can't be no soft Christian. Let's be honest. Let's be for real. Like, you can't be a soft Christian in 2019. If you a soft Christian, like, you ain't doing nothing.
Tell me what you mean by a soft Christian. When you say soft Christian, what do you mean by that? I mean,
Man,
am I not supposed to turn the other cheek? Am I not supposed to turn the
No,
other cheek?
no,
When
no.
you
I'm
say
not
soft
saying let's
Christian?
go. Nah, I ain't saying go hit them up. I ain't saying that. But what
somebody up.
I ain't saying that.
Nah,
But
you good.
it's a mentality that we have to have, a mentality of authority.
Right.
Authoritative mentality, and that's what I have. So once God showed me who I was, and the further I got into Him, and the more I understood that the God of the universe, the one and only, God backs me, and that He has all power, and that every knee will bow at His name, and He's in me. So what does that mean? That means when I walk into a room, hey, all this got to bow.
Right.
That's how I feel. So once I really understood that, I started walking like that. But that's the kind of power we have, and He wants us to walk in that authority.
Right.
But a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm a Christian, I pray the Lord. Like, man, listen, y'all gotta listen. It's warfare out here, and so now we at a point where, especially, I think what people are not getting it, especially for the youth, is that growing up in church, we've been begged to love Jesus. Begged to love Jesus. How does that even sound? Like, at the end of the day, you can't beg them. You have to hit them with the facts and say, you have to choose. Because the truth is, a lot of these kids, they are maturing way faster.
Oh, yeah.
Because they see so much, you know what I'm saying? I mean, my little nephew, 8 years old, seeing stuff like, you know, where you see that at? YouTube? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, whoa.
Yes.
So now it's like, even when I get up and minister, sometimes there be little kids in the room. Like, back in the day, it was like, don't say this because you don't want the little kids to hear it. Now, the kids already know.
Look, they can teach you something.
See what I'm saying? And so for me now, it's like, okay, the enemy not playing no games.
He's not.
So for me, my music is to transfer a mindset. That's why I make the music, the type of music I do. That's anybody who, you know, make music, they transfer a mindset.
Right.
So my thing is, when you listen to my music, I want you to feel like I feel. I want you to understand. I want you to feel that authority. I want you to feel confident.
Right.
When you're done listening to that song, you like, oh my goodness, like,
Yes.
yo, this is who I am?
That's it.
This is who I am?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do to every young adult believer, because I believe once we understand who we are, it flips something. And then that's when we start doing stuff. We don't care no more.
Right.
See what I'm saying? We walk in the authority of God. And so that's all I want to do, is encourage people to walk in that authority and actually see who God has created them to be. That's my purpose behind the music.
Exactly. Right. And when you said go hard, I mean, I wanted you to just explain it that way. Because, you know, I get kind of ragged a little bit because people feel like that's me. I go hard because I'm confident in who I serve. I'm confident in the God that's in me. I'm confident in that. I know who is backing me. And so I don't feel a need to pull back.
Right.
No, you know, I don't feel a need to apologize for who I am in Christ, and that today is not a popular thing. It's not popular to walk upright. It's not popular, you know. You know, the message in the atmosphere sometimes is, you know, we thank God for grace, but we use it as a crutch to.
We want to feel good.
Come on.
That's it. We want to feel good all the time. We don't want no conviction. We don't want none of that. I pray for conviction. Like.
Yes.
I don't even, like, that's, if you really understand it, you do that. But a lot of people in the faith, they don't pray for conviction.
No. As a matter of fact, not only do we not pray for it, but we have now got the preacher in the pulpit to turn the message to make us feel okay about what God will allow in your life. Don't worry, grace abounds.
Yeah,
you know,
grace
and
abounds.
And see, this is why.
You're getting turned up now.
Yeah.
Calm down now.
No, because I want to. He already told me I can be radical about this. Calm down.
Jump up. She about to stand up. Like, you know.
Get that pulpit up here.
No, but what you were saying with the confidence, it's not even the fact that when I see the world is lacking confidence as a whole. I feel like
definitely.
when it comes to just who we are as believers, not just our relationship with God, but the confidence trickles down to everything.
Right.
Like when I see myself grow as a believer in loving God, I see myself be more confident as a man, be confident as a husband. It trickles. It's not just like it stays in one area.
Yeah.
And the reason why people don't want that relationship, or it's hard to have that relationship with God, is because now you got to have confidence in other things. That's why it's so easy to go into temporal fixes and temporal self-medication and how we deal with stuff, because most times in life we're not confident in anything.
Right.
I don't care if it's at the job place, I don't care if it's at school. You talk to folks how they feel about how they doing in school, how they doing at their job, how they doing as even kids, how they being as children, sons, daughters. They just all lacking confidence. So we start to go to other things because we don't have to worry about that confidence no more. My mind is taking off the confidence. But when you in God, He gives you that confidence, and to build confidence, you got to break stuff down. So we don't want to break down and get that confidence. We just think the breakdown is just going to leave.
We don't want to be on that potter's wheel. That's exactly. The potter wheel used to be the place to be.
Right.
But you know, remember that? That's old school.
And then the line that says that come out gold, like it really means that, like you go through fire. And nobody likes the fire, but when you come out, it leaves you to a point where now, when you wasn't confident, like I remember when I early 20, I didn't really have nobody show me how to be a man. I wasn't confident, but at 31, like I'm feeling totally different.
Right.
And I give that same appeal to whoever I'm talking about. Like, it's God that has allowed me to be confident in myself.
Right.
Because we wasn't even confident in us before we came. We wasn't even confident in ourselves.
Right. And I think that that's what we try to do. We try to be good fathers, good husbands, good brothers, good everything before we would be a godly man. And if you don't get this godly man down, all these other areas, you're not going to be able to max out and be full potential in that. And so the lead by example movement, I believe it's a movement.
Oh yeah, amen.
You know, because the Christian faith, you know, we've become a joke. You know that, right? You know, we've become a joke in the eyes of so many because of the hypocrisy of not wanting, like we said just now, not wanting to stand up and be counted as a righteous man or a righteous woman. It used to be a good thing, you know, to be called righteous. And then now they'll tell you you're doing the most.
Yeah, there you go. You're running out.
Is that what they say? They're running out.
You're running out. That's what you're saying.
And it goes back to the confidence. Like they see you, they honestly want that.
Yeah.
But because they lack that, and you're actually striving, they like, okay, you're doing the most. But really, it's almost like I want to be that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
But because I can't be that, I'm gonna knock it.
There you go. That's true. I
I'm
think
trying to tell you.
everyone. This is the thing. All of our desires are the same.
Yeah.
I try to tell people that all the time. Like yo, like even in a relationship, like say yo, like what kind of man do you want? Well, I want one that makes me laugh and that's good and that's honest and that like okay yeah everybody want the same thing.
Right.
So it's like that's like a question that's kind of like really it's like what does that mean? You know? So it's like yeah we all have the same desires, but what we don't understand. I talked about this not too long ago. Is that you know your desires don't qualify you to have that. You know what I'm saying? You got to put in the work for that. And that's what we live in.
Isn't that the truth?
It's
Everybody wants these good old man, this good old woman, but they want to be raggedy.
And every single way, everybody just want the end result, but they don't want to, like you say, go through. And they don't want to take the time to practice in self-control and have diligence and have integrity and humble yourself and pray and fast. And like, man, I don't want to do all that. So when I say, oh, you know what, I'm actually go for it. Man, you tripping. You want to bring me down, but you know what I'm saying? But then once you see the blessing that God has blessed me with, then you got two choices. You either that's either going to inspire you or you're just going to hate me now.
Most of the time they go to the hate. They go to the hate and then they dish you, you know, da-da-da-da. The fact of the matter is we all want the blessings of the Lord.
There you go. We all do.
Right. We want to be called sons and daughters, but we want to live like the bastards, children. We want to live like the bastards.
That's what God even wanted. The people don't understand, like, we were actually designed to want what God, you know, wants for us. So it's kind of like this. I tell people, I say, even a cheater wants someone who's faithful.
Yeah, ain't that funny?
Listen to that.
So
it's like, yo, even you cheating, but you still want someone who's faithful. So what is that? See what I'm saying?
It's like you don't have one that's faithful.
It's you doing this, but you want that. So it's like, yo, you not even in a position to actually have what you want, and this is what makes everyone upset because their desires are, I want to live like this, I want to be like this, I want to do this, but instead of taking forth the effort, you know what I'm saying, and humble themselves and say, okay, Lord, I'm going to do it, they reject God. And then when they reject God, they're stuck in this loop and they're just always mad and they're always tired and they're always complaining. And you can't get off that loop until you humble yourself.
Right. And you know, you spoke truth there because we think that we can get stuff and go places and be with certain people and this is going to make us happy.
Yeah.
In actuality, we just frustrated. We just looking for that next fix, that next thing to make us feel better when there's only one thing that's going to bring us to that place. And that's like you said, it's humbling ourselves, submit ourselves, because we'll say this, he'll give me the desires of my heart. We love that one.
And that's always material.
Your heart ain't your heart's not even transformed yet.
To even
see what I'm saying? He can't give you nothing that
your heart is not.
Your heart is not even transformed to what's righteous. That's pretty much saying like, yo, he gonna give me the sin I want.
This the thing that they forget about in that scripture is that when you seek the face of God and humble yourself before God,
that's what he's saying.
You get the mind of Christ. And so then your desires become what he wants anyway. And so that's where the lineup is.
There you go.
But we thinking God gonna come to us in our desires. You know, actually what we did is we moved to him.
Exactly.
And now our desires become what God wanted for us all along.
And it always in desires, we always think it's just material and tangible, but sometimes the desires are just totally, it can be so spiritual and outside of that, like just being to the point where you want to be obedient.
Right.
There's just smaller things where you just take away the tangible thing, and it's things that we always look to, the new car, new house.
Right.
He gonna give me the new career. It's just when you start to have the heart of God, you just want to be able to do what he wants you to do.
Right.
And that can be the desire, it's just being obedient. It gets out of the outside of, we so much into this new car,
Right.
new this, new promotion.
Right.
It gets outside of
When
that.
you get the mind of Christ, the more the more you take on Christ, the
There you
more
go.
your mind is evolving into that of the Lord, the less things of this world matter.
Yes, very much. The most valuable thing on this planet is peace.
Facts.
Everybody tripping if you got peace though, you good. Everybody's tripping, and that's what I'm saying. Just responding on what you're saying, that's what it is. The world, we've looked at it so much. It's coming from a million different ways right now.
Right.
So you get hit all day, and so you start gradually wanting to desire. And people post these pictures of what it looks like to, be
Right.
happy.
Right.
But happiness ain't joy. Those are two different things.
different
See what I'm saying? So it's
different.
even in ourselves, my homeboy had this line, Jose, he had this line, he said, it is what it is, but it isn't what it can be. Right? And in that meant okay, say you looking at somebody and they got a great marriage, and in your mind, but they're not even saved. So this is what the world does. They look at these people, I want to be Gucci man, and also old girl, and they say I want to be this.
Right.
And so that's in their mind what marriage is. That's their standard.
Right.
But it's it is what it is, because they're doing it out of their own strength.
Right.
And not saying, they going.
Yeah. Hey, turn that music down just a little bit. Yeah. Make some noise, Columbus. Ha. Y'all ready? Let's go. Hey. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. I heard a lot of things growing up, man, but when I switched my life to God, somebody said, JR, why are you serving God now? This seems like you love him so much, but I told them, man, at one point, I used to think totally different. It was something like this. Yeah. Yeah. Now that word can't comprehend all the pressures that I feel, so I numb the way to pain by popping all these pills. I wanna get ahead, but I came upon a hill. My mind was driving me insane, so I just let go of the wheel. I know I'm set aside for the purpose of his will, but I don't understand what's the purpose of his will. And I ain't living righteous, but I'm saying that I will. I was focused on this money, I was trying to stack up for tomorrow. But tomorrow ain't promised, so I gave my life to God. In that cliff I started climbing. They say that giving worship is the ultimate homage. Lord, I try to be a star, but you don't turn me to your comment. And that's the biggest difference from repeating and repenting. Dying or living, declining or admitting that I'm merely just a man, but I'm made in his image. I'm merely just a man, but a soldier on a mission. My God got it covered like my hands in the mitten. The devil's main tactic is the cause of division, so let's bring it to an end. Amen, benediction, word of God be the truth. Fact, not fiction, not your ordinary theme. Cause this is my addiction, I don't wanna sound mad. I'm spiritually bitten. I pray that you listen and your soul start lifting. Even though we going through, His grace is sufficient. That word be the bait, my faith get the fishing. You're a real man, He cleans them in His kitchen.